3, 2, 1. I wish that's, I've said it many times. I've wished that these would translate into the earbuds as you're talking. So therefore, I'm going to check my phone to see if this is actually broadcasting live from Harkins Theater in Scottsdale Fashion Square Mall. It's my Porta studio. So let me go to YouTube on my phony phone. I call it a phony phone because it does much more than just plays phone calls. And I'm going to my site of YouTube Lay, and I click on the smiley face, and I'm looking for live. Okay, first I got to click on Jimmy Lee Boggs, then go to live Glive on Madonna Day. It's live in my mind. Yes, I am live. Okay, thank you. So in my mind, I envision this radio station that will reach out to the world and bring world peace to the world, and also semblance of tranquility. That's when you see an azradio.live sticker, which next time I see Sabra, the pest exterminator on our site at Fairmont Gardens in Phoenix, Arizona, 85018, I'll give her one of my azradio.live stickers because I think we're on the same page. That may make no sense to you because Sabra is an exterminator of termites and other pests. But I think we're in sync with the sense of that we all want unity of the world and no wars, instead of take that money and put it into education so we don't fight wars. But that's not the point. The point is Sedition Records has 3 albums released today, or 3 singles. The first one is Good Woman. That's out now. That's on YouTube video. And also you can go to YouTube Music and listen to it. Also, these are exclusive, mind you. These are exclusive because Good Woman is available all around the world on all streaming music networks. But the other 2 aren't yet. And that is The Lord Sent Me an Angel from Above. That is exclusive to YouTube and YouTube Music. TuneCore is dragging their feet and distributing it worldwide, and I just figured, well, it must be a YouTube exclusivity at this point because that's the only network that's carrying those beautiful, beautiful songs. The Lord Sent Me an Angel from Above. And also, am I talking about Madonna? Huh? That she's a saint. Sorry, a saintess. Okay. Anyhow, then there's the other song, First Kiss, that is exclusive to YouTube also. 2, I'll say. First Kiss is a beautiful alternative remix of the first album I released, which was called First Take. And that's been slandered to say first take, then give. No, it's the first take. It means it's the first time is always the best, which brings us back to Foreigner. Regardless, and I don't like using that word regardless because it is less of regard, but in this case it is much regard. The fact that a Good Woman is now available on all streaming networks of music platforms. We're not talking 6-inch heels either. 6-inch heels, bad business. I'm right at the refreshment bar at the Harkins Theater. It's a beautiful. This is one of the better locations I've ever been at. I've been at Capital One Cafe, and it's a little congested. People just sort of like sitting next to you, and they're crowding your space, things like that. But here it's completely empty, which isn't good for business. But then again, it is 12:18 in the afternoon. I had my first drink at 10:30, right when they opened. Bad personality. So they advise I wait about 2 hours before I start driving again. This is a martini glass, believe it or not. Anyhow, I requested the James Bond Venta, and I got a really good drink in the alternative because they were missing the ingredients to make it a real Venta. This isn't Casino Royale, obviously, but that's no diss because that was a darn good drink. What I got in regards to the Venta, which is James Bond's personal drink. But here's a funny thing. It was stirred, not shaken. Now, I think I'm getting erroneous information saying that James Bond prefers shaken, not stirred. And if I am, I looked into the eyes of Mr. James Bond himself. Who's the new guy? Craig, Craig, something Craig, and he's as fit as a fiddle. And flat stomach. I've got the 2-pack Shakur 6-pack. Actually, it's a 2-pack, 2 little bumps that makes one big pregnancy bump. But anyhow, that's regardless because it's Roger Craig. Okay, let me Google this. What Craig is it that's the new James Bond? Because I have, it would be to the ends of the earth if he would take a drink that is shaken, not stirred. Because, YouTube is sending me that information. He's on Casino Royale going, yeah, I'd like it to be shaken, not stirred. I'm going, wait, James Bond is never shaken. If anything, he's stirred to action. So that's where I don't understand that. So you got to be careful what you see on YouTube. Because I know James Bond. So let's Google that. Who is the new James Bond? I'm going to the G's here. Kenzel. Okay. And, in all due respect, he deserves his entire name. Who is the latest James Bond? That's all I have to say. There was Roger Moore, there was Sean Connery, there was Roger Daltrey, there was... No, I'm kidding. It's some other Daltrey. But no due respect, but I'm 62. My memory fades, and who is the latest James Bond? I could Google who are all the James Bonds, and we'd get Daniel Craig and Pierce Brosnan and Sean Connery and Roger Moore. How did I get Roger Daltrey out of all that? How did I think that Pierce Brosnan was Roger Daltrey? Okay, I got to find out. Was there ever a Daltrey in Showmore? There was Timothy Dalton. That's who I'm thinking of. When was he a James Bond guy? George Lazenby and David Niven. I'll bet that's a great James Bond. Barry Nelson. Couldn't tell you about that one. Wait, these are just actors in the James Bond characters. Okay, regardless, we had Timothy Dalton. That was a James Bond character. Let's see. Now I got to confirm that. Was Timothy Dalton a James Bond? Was Timothy Dalton, Dalton, a Bond? A Bond. I should say James Bond, but you know what? With Google, they probably will figure that out. Yes, Timothy Dalton was the fourth actor to portray James Bond in the official Eon series. He starred in as 007 in 2 films, The Living Daylight and License to Kill. I saw both of those. He was excellent. So whenever I say Roger Dalton, it's in all due respect because Timothy Dalton was that James Bond. And the intent of that is to make people go, it wasn't Roger Daltrey, it was Timothy Dalton. And you're saying his name over and over and over. And you're saying, Jim, you're an idiot, and I know Timothy Dalton. So there you have it. It's all in due respect to the people that play these great iconic figures. That's why I looked up Daniel Craig. And he flew in from, I think he's English, to work out at 24-hour fitness, Anytime Fitness. And you know what? I got kicked out of there because of some disagreements I had with the director of the region. And now I participate in Planet Fitness, which is a lot more fun because it's roomier, like my eyes. No, I'm just kidding. I don't have roomy eyes. Do I? Do I have roomy eyes? I'm 62. Once you hit the 60s, your eyes become roomy and dilated. And no, I'm kidding. I'm talking about Lucid cars, which are at the mall. Lucid cars are great. So anyhow, I've got 3 songs that are being released. One, A Good, Good Woman. Excellent song. It's ragtime and upbeat with great harmonies. And this is the one that is revolutionary with its production qualities. Now, I'm a mixer, preliminary mixer and sound engineer and writer and maybe producer at this point because I have to pay the costs of everything. And what they did with The Lord Sent Me an Angel from Above is just remarkable. I would even say that Phineas of Billie Eilish had something to do with it because it's so revolutionary with its mixing and production that it's just cutting edge. That's an overused word nowadays, but let's say it's futuristic with what you're listening to with sounds. So go to YouTube now and listen to The Lord Sent Me an Angel from Above. And believe me, there have been many angels in my life. Just the fact I'm sitting here is proof of that. In St. Louis, they sent me angels. I didn't say I didn't have to walk 5 miles to school uphill both ways or not, but there were still angels accompanying me, allowing me to do that or helping me to do that. When I got pulled over by the police in St. Louis because I had a Missouri plate on the back and a Kansas plate on the front, they're, wanting to arrest me right there. I say, look, I just arrived into town. I got $25 in my pocket. I'm trying to attend school. I just left northern Michigan, and I'm trying to make it here in St. Louis. Well, there were angels there at that time because they could have easily arrested me for duplicate license plates or whatever they do in St. Louis. Then when I was hauled away to the mental ward in St. Louis, and, I don't know what forces put me under the effects of Haldol for 30 years, but it's no more. I will never allow that to happen to me or anyone else in this world, where they debilitate people with drugs or antipsychotic medication. But that's a story that's been tired and true, unfortunately. Point is, I'm here. Well, I don't have much signal on my microphone. I wonder if I can fix that. Let's see. Click on the microphone. No, I guess this is the best it gets. Point is, there's been angels by my side 100% step of the way. I remember being taken to the back alley in St. Louis and somebody was going to mug me and they decided not to at the last moment. Then I would see them on the bus. They said, "You look really good." And I said, "Really? Good for what?" To be mugged, apparently. But there were angels. I was in downtown Phoenix asking people in a state of bipolarism, "Do you think guns should be taken off the streets?" There was an angel, Bon Jovi, right behind me. I swear he was behind me because this guy looked up right when he was ready to attack me in my car, and he must have saw Bon Jovi. So there's been angels in my life, but the song I wrote, "The Lord Sent Me an Angel from Above," is in direct reference to the angel in my life, and that's Gabriella H. Boggs. I'm not saying there weren't other angels that inspired the song. There were many other angels, and I'll talk about it later. But this song is for my wife, Gabriella H. Boggs, because she's the angel that guides me every single day. Every single day. There's been other angels that have saved me from the serpents of the environment that surrounded me at times. And that's when I instantly wrote the song. But then there's certain angels that stand by your side day by day, night by night, year after year, month after month, and lifetime after lifetime. And that's my wife, Gabriella. But I will not take away credit from the angels that have been in my life previous to that, like at the corner restaurant in Kansas City, Missouri. I was surrounded by those crazy REM angels. They were great. Steve something was owner of the restaurant. He had a lover named something, but they busted my balls every day I waited tables there. And but I was surrounded by angels showing me how to clean a toilet for the first time in my life. I forget her name, but she was a supervisor of the restaurant. So what other times have there been angels? Kind of like that movie, California Angels. Morgan Freeman. I think he was an angel. He and Rihanna. Back when I was on my heels and on my butt, we could say, on my muffin, Aerosmith style, Rihanna entered my life, and she just explained to me she was a dancer, and I went, "Really? You're eating for two at the time?" She enjoyed a fine buffet and took home extras left over from the photo shoot or the movie shoot I was in, which the movie's available somewhere. I've got a slight cameo where I'm going, and I'm not even doing that. I'm going, well, maybe I'm going, I don't know. It's only a 3-second shot, and I obviously had no part to play in the part except background scene, and maybe seeing how I would react when I met Rihanna. So she's an angel. You know who's another angel? Is Quincy Jones. He's entered my life several times. He is a definite angel. Yeah, Quincy Jones. Not to mention Melly. He was the first angel I met, and I think he's a guy that played with the Beatles, the keyboardist, Preston. Okay, got to get his name now. Who was the keyboardist for the Beatles on Come Together? Go to Google. Who played the keyboards on Come Together? Billy Preston. I don't even have to look it up. Billy Preston was the grandest angel in my life. He got me on better medication, and that makes a world of difference. See, in this world, I tell you, people will try to silence you with the medical industry. And they'll prescribe stuff to deaden your brain to where you can't talk, where you don't say what's on your mind. I guess that accounts for a lot of people. I'm not meaning to diss anybody, but they did it to me. I will never stop. I will never be silent. And I'm reaching for my chapstick right now, in case you're wondering. So, Quincy Jones, greatest angel. Melly, I forget his name, but he's Billy Preston. Great angel. But I'd have to say Lady Gaga was an angel for me too, because she wrote songs that were inspirational. Songs like A Million Reasons. That song about superficiality, I forget what it is, but A Star is Born. That was a remarkable. And I met her her co-star, which I forget his name, but great chemistry with that group. Great music out of that album, out of that movie. And she was definitely an angel in my life. In all due respect to everybody. And also Taylor Swift. Another angel. So my life has been filled with angels, especially in the music industry. Before I started recording my music, the angels were in St. Louis, Missouri. They were subterfuge angels, because Madonna's an angel. I remember the time somebody from the right-wing Christian radio network said, "Oh yeah, that Madonna, she's definitely from the devil." And I went, "What are you talking about? She's a sinner." And I went, "No, she isn't. She sold 40 million albums. That's what I'm interested in. Not your perspective, dipshit." I didn't say dipshit because I was in the school. I was kicked out twice already at that school by Mr. Doug Huber, all due respect. He had reasons to kick me out, apparently. But yeah, I was kicked out of that school twice. But I finally graduated. That was a miracle. And then they hence put me on Haldol, which shut me up for 30 years, ladies and gentlemen. That's how they work. That's the right-wing ideology. They didn't like the way I spoke and thought and talked. So that's why I will never shut up now that I've got my senses, now that I can think, now that I can speak my opinions. And if I see things that are unjust in this world, I'll call it out like I do. So anyhow, I don't want to get depressed on anybody, because I've got 3 singles out: A Good Woman, The Lord Sent Me an Angel from Above, and First Kiss, which is remarkable. It is a beautiful song. That was the first album I recorded. I wrote that song 40 years ago. 40 years ago, I wrote First Kiss when I was 14. Can you imagine if I hadn't been dead for 30 years, what I would have been able to accomplish? That's where the angst comes in, ladies and gentlemen. That's where I say you stole 30 years of my best of my life through your right-wing ideology just because I liked Madonna. And I thought she was really a great artist. So you don't think I'm driven now like a Toyota? Yeah, I don't want to bring anybody down, but a good woman, great song. Lord sent me an angel from above. The production techniques are just remarkably modern. We're not talking Barry Manilow here, and God bless him, he's still the best. Like Madonna. In my mind, I imagine Madonna Day, Madonna Day, Madonna Day, because I think I met her. Let me just put the cards on the table and say, I met Madonna. I didn't realize it because I was busy recording The Lord Sent Me an Angel from Above. And I went to the clubhouse to meet with her. And they set me up to be uncomfortable as all heck. And I was just trying to get out of there, just look in there, look at the little pinholes where the termites were at and verify that, oh yeah, that's where a termite was at. That's where a termite was at. And can you treat that? Can you treat that? And, I was out of there within 30 seconds. And then I felt like she overcharged us. I felt like she gave us a bad quote. So I called her up and I said, listen, Sabra, you seem like a woman with a lot of issues. I'd like to let you know that we're not going to pay you. And also, if you have any questions, just give us a call. And you're also responsible for the damages. So little did I know I was saying that to the pop queen, not pop princess of the 80s, 90s, and the new millennium. What an honor. She was, I've said this before, and everybody should know this. Aretha Franklin was Queen of Soul. Madonna, in all due respect to all the beautiful artists that are out there, Madonna was the Queen of Pop, right behind Michael Jackson. And now she's a philanthropist. She broke the ground for all the other great artists. And you know who they are, because they modeled themselves after Madonna. They are on the same page with her, but Madonna was the Queen of Pop. And still is. If somebody will play her music. She's had 5 albums that no one listens to. Why do you think that is? Corporate radio. I always go to corporate radio. Corporate radio ruined radio. All these corporations took over and said, you know what, Madonna's just a little bit too black for us right now. Shit. That's repulsive what these corporations have done to music, but not me. I am in lockstep with nobody. That means nothing because it's all in my mind. This worldwide radio station that will reach out, give iPads to the librarians. That's what I'm working on, getting them iPads for their Wi-Fi signals that they just got through Skylink Network. This school in Liberia. My son lives there. He's got a dad too. That's really his dad, but I'm his father too. So when I see what these great artists have done for adoptions, Elton John, Madonna, and things they've had to break barriers for just to raise their kids, that's a little irrelevant. But Steven Tyler has Janie's house. I think I've got Maggie's house, to be honest. I don't. They tell me connect the dots, Jimmy. Connect the dots. Well, my therapist said, "Why don't you donate a case of diapers to Maggie's house?" I think we are providing its services now, as far finances go, to provide great services to the public. Mainly women that are pregnant, knocked up. They need help when they're young, and they're keeping their baby. So, Madonna is a great artist. It's National Madonna Day. I declare it. And in my mind, I'm going to be playing Madonna all day long because she's the Queen of Pop. And everybody after her is modeling their careers after the great groundbreaking not novelty, but iconic performances that this woman has shown us how to do it. Essentially, this is how it's done. Everybody, go to New York, get friends with a disc jockey, and learn how to dance. She showed us how to do that. Who did it before her? Tell me. Nobody. Madonna showed us how it's done. Now, I have great respect that everybody that modeled after her and has taken it to new levels, but Madonna was the first. Anyhow, I'm trying to get in touch with Sabra because I think she's Madonna, and she treated termites in her clubhouse, and I'm going to say sorry, and she'll say, hey, that's my song I just wrote on my last album that nobody listened to. What? I have nothing to do with that. She's got a new album out called MDNA. She's going to be also touring the world. You bet your buttons I'm going to beg to warm up her show or do something. Get on the road, get on the road and tour and fly around the country. I'll even go on a bus at this point to warm up Madonna and her 2026 world tour. I just hope I have a chef, because I don't like McDonald's food 24 hours a week, day after day, week after week. That's what a lot of bands have to put up with when they're touring on a bus. They pull into a fast food restaurant. That's their meal for every day of the week. So that's what I would ask for. Can I have somebody that would prepare me better meals than that? I'll ride the bus, but I wonder if my wife would like to tour with me. She probably wouldn't. So, what's interesting? I have enough songs for a new album, and I originally was going to call it The Art of Discipline. And on the album cover, which was rejected by TuneCore, mind you, it had a cover. It had a picture of a deposit box there at the Phoenix College for their little bank they've got there. And it was a deposit box, the old-fashioned deposit box that banks have where you open it up and you put the money in and you shut it and they process the deposit and then add it to your account, old school way. That was my original album cover. Well, I might use it again for this album cover because it's a cool concept of a deposit box, old school wise, of The Art of Discipline. And obviously, I've learned a lot in the past 4, 5, 7 years. I now realize The Art of Discipline, because I used to say, man, if I was on tour with, let's name somebody, like I said, it'd be tough to be disciplined. Well, I learned that the results of undiscipline is catastrophic. And nothing means more to me than a successful career. Successful career and a successful tour and a successful life. So finally, it took me 7 years to figure that out, but doesn't mean I'm not going to listen to Ariana Grande or listen to that other chick, Sabrina Carpenter, or Meatloaf, or all these great artists, because I respect great artists of the world. Who's that one chick? She's Tate McRae, and then there's of course Lady Gaga, who's, what can you say about her? She's modeling. She's doing Broadway plays, just like Madonna started out doing. Movies. So I'm telling you, people learn from others. And, I've got my fans, and I'm a fan of still. Paul McCartney. I think I met him at Anytime Fitness finally. He looked like Kevin Mellenbrook. I go, are you Kevin Mellenbrook? He goes, no, I'm not Kevin Mellenbrook. He had a Cockney accent. I'm going, oh my gosh, I think I met Paul McCartney. I'm telling you, I'm a fan of anybody that's successful and is still in the business and old, especially. Herbert Humperdinck, Engelbert Humperdinck, fans on Facebook. I always call him Herbert Humperdinck, but it's Egbert Humperdinck. What a great name, huh? Anyhow, I'm fans of him. Any artist that has shown longevity, even the one-hit wonders, why not? Let's name a one-hit wonder. Hard to remember their names. But the people still in the game, like Charlie XCX and Iconopop, just these great acts that have made their mark in music history. Shawn Mendes, the other guy, Shawn Mendes, Charlie Puth, Justin Timberlake, Justin Bieber. These are names that have toured the country, made their mark in music. Billy Joel, Elton John. I'm a fan of all of them. But I have learned that in order to keep a tour successful, you have to be disciplined. You can't fall in love with them. Who doesn't fall in love with their fans, with their idols, you know? But now I realize now I'm more in love with my wife because she's been by my side. She's the angel for me. But I'm still a big fan and attracted to these great artists that are just hot. But I'm even more attracted to my wife, to be honest. So that's the beauty of it. So a good woman, written for my wife in all of its entirety. The Lord Sent Me an Angel from Above was written originally for Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez because she saved me at Connections from the sleaze that surround me, all the witches, all the the peoples, and they were trying to bring me down, keeping me awake for 3 days at a time, which is not unlike actually, it was not Connections. That was the first episode I had. I met J.D. Vance here. No, that was at the, what was it called? Some other mental ward. What can I say? I wrote 3 songs there. 5, actually. And who's the guy that's Patel? I met him at the first incarceration. So I've met all these great politicians and actors and people in the Facebook. What's his name? Zuckerberg. Bezos. Somehow I met them in these odd situations. Tim Walz, Hillary Clinton, Oprah Winfrey, Mrs. Biden, Dr. Biden. It was the most excruciating atmospheres I've ever been in, but somehow I was able to walk out, stooped over, and still be able to give you this podcast or this live stream today on YouTube. So back to the angels. They've always been in my life because I've needed them. Right now I'm married to one. She's by my side every day, every night, every day. The others are around me. I'm not making it sound like I'm protected or anything, but if you don't have it, everybody has angels in their life. Everybody. And thank God for that. So good woman. The Lord Sent an Angel from Above and First Kiss. All available now on YouTube and YouTube Music. Go listen to them. And praise God for any angels that are in your life. Thank you and have a good day.